Okay, I think it's working. So how is everyone? I was trying to get started and my system said, we don't know where you're trying to stream to. And I said, well, you sure do, because I told you. And it's like, that doesn't exist. So I had to, sorry, I'm getting comfortable on my chair. So I had to reboot my whole thing and bring it back up. So, hello, everyone. I'm really glad that we're all here today, even though half of us are freezing to death and the other half are getting blown around, and then even half of both categories are getting both. So it's just kind of cold here. It's not snowing or anything. It's supposed to start raining. So we're supposed to get rain almost every day for like the next, I don't know, 2 weeks or so. So I have some tea with me today, just in case. I'm feeling much better, but just in case my throat gets yucky. Mr. Moon is now wearing a harness, and he hates it. So he may be a pest today. Yeah, so we are all set up to, Lisa's lights are flickering. Sylvie's got sun, lucky. Wow, 65 and sunny in San Diego. Man, I'm headed to San Diego. So yeah, we're all set up here, ready for whatever you guys want to do. I thought maybe we could use one of these today. So let me just show you what these are, and then we can decide. So these are the canvas pads, just like the white one that you guys have seen me use, but they're colored, they're toned. So like, whoop. So this one is called Terra Gray. It's kind of a bluish gray. And this one is Georgia Peach. So it's quite orangey. And this one, I really like this one. It's almost gone, actually. I only have a couple sheets of this one left. It's called Cappuccino, and it's just kind of a light tan color. So whichever one you guys think you would like to use, I'll let you guys decide. And then I will show you guys what we're doing next week. I'm still working on editing. The video is kind of a beast. It's a little over 2 hours long, which is kind of, par for the course this year so far in my video making. But yeah, lots of votes for Peach. Interesting. Okay. But as you know, I went, was it yesterday? No, Friday, to my friend Will's studio, and we painted. And so I want to tell you guys all about that. We had such a good time. We had such a good time. And it really kind of got me thinking, because painting with him was so inspiring for me. He's a wonderful artist, and he was one of my inspirations when I started painting. He really made me want to paint, and he was so generous with time and knowledge and everything. And but this was the first time. I've known him for like almost 6 years, and this was the first time that he and I had ever painted together. So it was super, super inspiring, but it also got me thinking about all of the other wonderful artist friends that I have. And kind of like me, oh, stop. It got me thinking of all the other wonderful artist friends that I have, and thinking if you guys enjoy this format, because it is obviously a little different, then it might be something, welcome Sue, that I want to do again, reach out to some of my other friends and see if they would like to collaborate in a video like this. So we chose an image. I'll just go ahead and show you guys now, and then we'll get started. We chose an image, and then we sat side by side and painted it, and it just turned out that we used almost the exact same color palette We used the exact same color of canvas. We both used the cappuccino one. We used a lot of the same materials, but our paintings turned out so different, so completely different. So the format of the video is more, it's less about, here, let me show you how to do what I'm doing. There's a little bit of that on both of our parts, but it's mostly a conversation that he and I are having about a lot of the topics that we talk about. And, you know, he brings a little insight to the conversation that maybe I haven't before that might be helpful to you. But then also I hope it's really helpful for you guys to see how two artists sitting side by side using almost the exact same materials can have two paintings that look so, I mean, so drastically different. So that's what I hope that you guys get out of it. But I'll show you what we picked. So this is the image that we picked. We wanted something a little moody, but not necessarily, you know, like, he does a lot of like dark, even some horror type art. So we wanted something that was just along the moody side. So that is what we picked. And I have his image in here. I don't have my image in here. And here is how his turned out. He's very loose. He's very, you know, his technique, I really envy his technique. He makes me very happy the way he paints. So that's how his turned out. And then I will show you how mine turned out because I don't have the image in there, but I have it sitting right here. And then mine turned out like this. Da, 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 da. So here, I'll put it down here. Maybe you can see it better. But yeah, the fact that we sat side by side and our paintings are so drastically different. I hope that that's helpful for you guys. So yeah, super excited about it. What? I have a what's my superpower? Were you looking at that image earlier, Deb? I've actually been looking at this image for a while now. It's an image that I found, and I was kind of doing a little bit more of focusing a little bit more on kind of brighter colors at the moment, but I thought, well, I'm going to put this one in my back pocket because I really want to do it. It was a little intimidating to me. And then when Will and I started talking about doing this collaboration, I was like, I have the perfect image. So yeah, so we had a lot of fun. Yeah, I might have to turn off the heater. It's getting hot in here. Anyway. And I just about died. I'm going to go turn off the heater. Oh. Crystals are so, I'm going to turn off the heater. I'll be right back. Crystals are so easy to draw, you guys, because, you know, it depends on the composition, like the elements that make the crystal. They all grow a little bit different. So you can't even like look at a crystal and say, well, this one, my crystal only has 5 sides, so it's wrong. Oh, don't look at how messy my room is back there. I need to clean this room. I'm not a very tidy person, you guys. Ugh, I'm falling apart. But they all look so completely different, so there's no sense in, you know, getting upset if your crystal doesn't look exactly like anything else. They feel nicer to you than the original image. Sylvie, that's so lovely. Thank you. Michelle, anything. And in fact, Will and I talk about things like that in the video too. You know, it's not about materials. It's about what you have and how you use it. It's not, you know, it's not about the materials at all. You can just use any background, and you'll see when you see Will and I, the approach that we each take is so completely different from each other. On mine, I really could have done it on a white canvas, but I felt like that color did help me a little bit. On Will's, it probably mattered even less that his canvas was that color. So it doesn't matter. Welcome, Shannon, and hello, Chloe. So, all right, what do we want to do? We're going to use our peach canvas. Let me just move some stuff over here, get my matte medium out of the way. And yeah, these are really great. I love these so much because, here, let me jump back here real quick. Because you can paint with them in the pad like this, which is what I typically do. Just kind of fold this top edge over. Or you can tear them out, which is what Will and I did because we were each using the same one. So I just tore it out and set it on the table, and it worked just fine. It doesn't curl up or anything. In fact, I might tear this one out. Yeah, I've got a black canvas pad too, Michelle. I haven't used it just yet. There have been a couple of times. I did almost use it on the rose, but ultimately with the gridding, I felt like a regular canvas was just easier on that one. Something windy. Oh my gosh, Eileen, you're killing it. Nice, I can't wait to see. So you do have to be a little careful when you tear these out, because if you just kind of, since it is canvas, it is fabric, some of the strings might get left behind and then it kind of shreds. So I recommend kind of pushing it back and, you know, creasing it as much as you can, and then be very gentle. Even then, I might tear the cover off of this one. Oh, there we go. That's the only thing. Just be really delicate when you tear them out. And then I can just paint on it like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Something windy. All right, I'm down. How about, so yesterday, not yesterday. I keep saying yesterday. It wasn't yesterday. It was Friday. Friday, when Will and I were painting, he used a palette knife quite a bit on the background. So let me jump back over there. So the background where it's all dark, that's almost all palette knife. And the way he used a palette knife was really inspiring to me. It's not typically how I use a palette knife at all. I do have a palette knife handy. Thank you very much. So that, yeah, I think I want to use a palette knife. So let's do that. I have a little bit of an idea too. Oh, hang on. Hey, Vince. He was right here. Come here. I thought you were just still right there. I thought you were still just right there. Will you hand me those paper towels? Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. I heard you in the kitchen, but I didn't hear you leave. These? Yeah. All of them. Yeah. Thank you. Say hi. So you get a thumbs up. Okay, bye. Yeah, you know what? It does look a little yellow. It's kind of hot. It's really just the, let me see if I can mess with my color balance. Hang on a second. Nope, that's worse. It is a little more orangey neutral than, whoa, and then I put my hand in it, it gets worse. That's a little bit more true. I know that's kind of dark, but that's a little bit more true. Yeah, so here's my thinking. If we're gonna have an orange background, well, an orange underpainting, and if we're going to have an orange underpainting and we want kind of a stormy look, then I think we want to use, I have an old palette right here. See the benefits of not tidying up. Actually, this one's kind of trashed. I think I want to use kind of like a bluish green, gray type color palette. But what do you guys think? That's my initial thought. What do you guys think about that color palette? Kind of a bluish, greenish gray. I'll start picking out colors. You guys throw ideas around. I think some unbleached would be nice in there. Okay. Blue grays, yep. I got 2 new blues that I haven't used yet, so maybe we can mess with those. I got some Prussian and some indanthrene, or indanthrene, whatever. Of course we can do a pop of color. Of course we can. I think a good pop of color might be a green. What do you think? Because like a pop green. Maybe some red. We can maybe do some red. That might actually be nice. Yeah, let's keep that in mind, and we'll kind of play it by ear, but I'm just going to pull out a bunch of different colors of blue. And yeah, ultramarine. Okay. Yes, we definitely need some Payne's Gray. I don't have transparent burnt umber. I don't know how I would use transparent brown. I think we might need some Quinburn Orange for mixing. I'm not going to use all of these colors, guys. This is just trying to get an idea of some colors to use. Payne's Gray. Burnt Sienna. Burnt umber. What about some yellow oxide? So we can get kind of a... We need some green. So some yellow oxide for some drabby green. But maybe I will get some cad medium so that we can control the greens a little bit more. Yay. Phthalo green? Phthalo green scares me. You think? You think I should do that? Phthalo green scares me. It's just like so green. You know how glitter, like if you just look at a tube of glitter, there's glitter all over everything in your life? I feel like if I just look at phthalo green, that everything just turns like ultra green. It's just so powerful. Okay. And then I have black and regular white too. That's why I should use it. Acha, exactly why I put it out here. I do like to use phthalo green. I mean, clearly I've got it, and this tube is, you know, more than halfway gone because I do use it. It's an excellent color for mixing. So as long as you're not going to make me use it on its own, then I'll be happy. I don't like phthalo just on its own. It's a terrifying green, but to mix is wonderful. Oh yes, the phthalo green and the phthalo blue mixed together, incredible. The best color ever. In fact, my color palette for the painting that Will and I did was burnt sienna, phthalo blue, and unbleached titanium. And Will used burnt sienna and turquoise in the Utrecht line, and the turquoise is really about the same as the phthalo blue and phthalo green mixed together. It was really, really beautiful. Okay, let me narrow down. Let us narrow down what colors we're going to use, okay? I'm going to tell you what colors I feel like we should be using, and you feel free to correct me in any way. Unbleached and maybe some regular white. We can use both or one or the other. I do feel like we should probably end up using both yellows, the cad medium and the yellow oxide. I have some phthalo green and Payne's gray. I absolutely want to use Payne's gray. We don't need to use both browns. I think we should pick one or the other. Me personally, I'm leaning toward burnt umber, but you guys let me know how you feel about burnt sienna. Or we can use quinacridone burnt orange. I kind of feel like that's expanding the color palette a little too far, though. I don't feel like we should use the quin burnt orange. And the blues, I feel like we should go with Prussian blue and indanthrene. Burnt umber, that's what I'm leaning with too. So I don't think I want to use phthalo or ultramarine. Burnt umber. All right, how about that? Does that sound good? I might have to scoot over a little bit so I can see. Oops, sorry. Ooh, getting fancy with the color mixtures, you guys. That's awesome. I love to hear that. I love to hear it. Okay, let's get started. What I want to do first is I'm going to take a color, I think maybe Payne's gray, and I'm going to sketch. I know that my sketching, the way I do this sketching, some of you love this, some of you, it terrifies you when I sketch like this. If it terrifies you, that's good. All right, so some Payne's gray. Mr. Moon is screaming at us now. What shall I scrub with? I guess we'll go with this brush. I don't know where my other one went. Mr. Moon, you hush your mouth. Hush, hush. So I'm using my 1/2 inch flat. This is not my scrubby one. This is my nice one. But I don't know where my scrubby one is, so I'm using my nice one. It doesn't matter. Jennifer, that's so funny that I always call him that. Because he does that. So when I see him, I go, meow, meow. Meow, meow. If he comes over here, I'll show him his harness. It even has little moons on it. And they're reflective. So it's cute. Moons and stars. Loudmouth. Okay, so I'm going to sketch. Now, when we sketch, remember, here's what a sketch is and what it isn't. Why is he wearing a harness? Because we want to take him camping with us this summer. We bought our little Scamp trailer and we want him to come with us. And so he has to get used to wearing a harness so that he can get used to walking on a leash so that he can go scamping with us. Here's what sketching is and what sketching isn't. Here's what sketching isn't first. It's not this. Okay, that's not sketching. That's drawing a really tight, crazy line and making yourself nuts. Here's what sketching is. Remember, holding that brush way far back. I want a landscape, so I'm going to decide, let's see, I have my 1/3 mark, so right about here, I'm just kind of giving myself a visual representation of where my 1/3 marks are so that I know where to put my elements in the most interesting way possible. Being that it's a landscape that we want to have kind of wind be the focus, so I'm going to have a lot of sky. So I think I'm going to have my ground somewhere in here. Maybe we'll Maybe not up that high. Something like that. Maybe we can have some hills kind of back here, some distant hills. Yeah, I like those distant hills. And then this will be kind of the foreground area. Here, maybe we'll have, yeah, I like that. Gretchen, sketching, yikes. This should be the most freeing part of your entire painting. Am I sure? About what? Something like a Van Gogh wind? Yeah, maybe. Maybe we can do something like that. We'll see how the palette knife treats us. But sketching like this, you guys, should be the least stressful part of your entire painting. There's no reason to be afraid of this. You're going to paint over all of this, right? So this line right here, this, that's going to be 10 times harder for me to paint over than any of this. Any of that. That's all going to be gone. So one thing that also really helps, say there's some serious wind going on, is a tree, right? A tree. A tree really helps show off the wind. And I'm kind of feeling like I want it on this side maybe, kind of blowing toward me. Let's see, we'll just find where that trunk is. Maybe it kind of moves that way, and then the branches are kind of what do we think? You know me. There's always got to be a tree, and a creepy one at that. Welcome, Kathy. Rock's holding the tree down. What, so it doesn't blow away? Can I make it look like a person fighting against the wind? Man, I don't know. You might be pushing it there. I know we haven't done a tree in a long time, have we? And like Christmas trees don't count. It has been a while, since October, I believe. So I think that's a good place to start. Let's start blocking in some of our colors. I'm not going to use the palette knife for the entire painting. Just when it really matters. So I'm going to get some... Oh no, Shannon. Laundry? That sounds awful. I'm sorry. I got some unbleached. And so here's the thing. I know that a lot of times you may automatically reach for something like burnt umber to do a tree trunk. But I am absolutely not going to do that. Absolutely not. In fact, I'm going to get some yellow oxide. So I've got yellow oxide, Payne's Gray, and unbleached titanium. And I'm going to start with that for my tree trunk. I actually don't care for burnt umber, for like to use it as a brown by itself. I don't care for that. With the wolf head, yeah, that's pushing it. I like tree trunks that aren't quite brown, because I mean, how often do you really see a tree trunk that you're like, oh, that's a brown tree trunk, that looks like burnt sienna or burnt umber? I mean, some kinds of trees maybe, but not always. All right, so there's just kind of a mixture of those colors. Let me get some matte medium. My matte medium is constantly gluing itself shut. Am I the only one? So tell me, what kind of colors do you guys like to use for tree trunks? I have my paint. See, I have the matte medium up on the top corner. I'm going to actually use the other corner and just kind of let the matte medium come off as it does. I'm still sketching. I'm using color, but I'm also just kind of sketching and seeing what happens, finding out where that tree is going to go and what it's going to do. Okay, it's not just mine then. Good. So tell me what colors you guys like to use typically for your tree trunks. So mine's it's almost kind of green, especially against that orange. Yeah, some twist in the trunk, and that's all just from using the corner of the brush. So I'm just kind of doing like that, and you can kind of twist it a little one side, the other side, you know. If you use it flat, then you just get like a bold streak of paint, which is fine. But if that's not what you want, just the corner and short brush strokes. You know, don't come up here and bring it down like this. And see, that doesn't look like a twisty tree at all. So just something like that. Whatever color I tell you. Cindy starts with black, chromatic blacks. Nice. Black, Payne's gray, reflections from the sky. Good, good. I'm glad to hear that you're not all just grabbing at the burnt umber. Let's get super messy. I think I'm going to do all of this painting without washing off my brush unless I stop using it. I'm going to use Prussian blue here for a minute because it's a much cooler blue than the Indanthrene. The Indanthrene seems to be a little bit more on the red side. But I haven't used them, so that's just my first impression. I could be totally off on that. Mars Black with Burnt Umber. Michelle, that does really make a great color. Mars Black and Burnt Umber, they make a really good tree color. Try using a little bit of unbleached titanium in that rather than titanium white, because that pushes a little bit more into the wood color as well. See how you like that? Okay, I have some, what did I say, Prussian blue? I think it was Prussian blue. I'm going to grab some of that. Didn't clean off my brush. I'm going to mix it in with some white, unbleached, and get just a nice light, kind of a grayed out color there. See that? That's going to make a really good color for our distant hills. Let's get a little bit more white and kind of smoke out the bottom, just so they're a little lighter toward the bottom. I'm using my brush kind of flat. It's almost like a full foot pressure, flat foot pressure. So I'm using it kind of like that and just kind of scooting it back and forth. Yellow oxide is a good highlight. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Deb, it does get a little less of that pink. And see, that's what I think too, is when you mix the burnt umber with titanium white to highlight, it really does kind of get that pink color. And the unbleached kind of prevents that. I really like that with that brighter color at the bottom in there. Let's block in the ground. Let's see what happens when we mix the yellow oxide with this Prussian blue. It's a little on the brighter side than I expected, but that's fine. Let's go with it and see what happens. Welcome, Pat. Good, Michelle. Good, good, good. Oh, and it's funny because in the video that I did with Will, I took him a set of my brushes. And so he used my brushes, and it was for the first time. He'd never used them before, brand new brushes. And you see him right at the very beginning. He grabs the brand new angle, and he's like this across the canvas with it. And I saw that, and I was just like, I'm so proud. But I know that some of you are going to be like, no. Yeah, he said that he was really impressed with them, that he really liked them. So, yeah, so that made me feel good. And throw a little bit of unbleached in there, maybe a little bit of Payne's too, just to tone that down a bit. Crazy, crazy color mixture. I'm still just kind of blocking in. I do want to pick up my palette knife, but I'm not going to sweat that right now. And pretty much out of yellow at this point, but I'm just going to keep going with what I have on my plate. So the color down at the bottom is going to be a little bit darker, a little more blue, and that's cool. I'm all right with that. What are we painting? We are painting the wind today. What should we do with the sky? I don't think I'm going to do anything with the sky just yet. As far as paint goes. Yes, I do. Do I? What do I want to do? I really want to kind of focus on doing the sky with the palette knife. But I feel like I want to tone it a little bit. I think I am. I'm going to tone it with a little bit of burnt umber. Yeah, I'll show you guys again in just a few minutes. I know there's lots of you who missed next week's painting. I'm going to be super loose here, guys. I dunked my brush straight into the water. This paint's going to be really runny, and just mixing what I already have on my brush into that burnt umber, some matte medium. I want to thin it down like crazy. I'm just kind of taking away that bright peachy look. This is not going to be my nice 1/2 inch when I'm done here today. That's what I get for being lazy, isn't it? And there we go. All right, our sky is toned. Everything else is toned. I think we're ready. No, it's not industrial at all. It's quite natural. Very, very natural. Okay, let's actually take a break from that for just a minute. Let things dry a little. And in the meantime, I will click you over. And those of you who just joined us, I will kind of give you a brief update on what we're doing next week. Okay, so for those of you, oh yeah, Michelle, I actually yelled at Will for that too. I was like, are you letting those brushes sit in the water? For those of you who are just joining us, I did get together with my good friend Will, who he's an incredible artist. He's a tattoo artist. He's actually done most of my tattoos at this point. And we painted together, and we've known each other for about 6 years now. We've never painted together before, so it was really exciting. It looks scary, Sue, painting loosely like that. It's the exact opposite, man. It's so freeing. It's so freeing. There should be nothing scary about painting loose like that. Do little kids look scared when they're just going to town and scribbling? Absolutely not. They're on cloud nine, and you should be too. So don't look for a second, guys. Don't look. Close your eyes. Okay, now you can look. So this is the reference image that both Will and I used. We sat down side by side with the exact same, well, essentially the exact same materials. Very, very similar color palettes. Same canvas, everything. And we just kind of went at this image with our own interpretation. And then here is Will's, and his super loose painting style is so inspiring to me. I really wish that I could paint half as loose as he does. And I love the way that he interpreted that image and changed it. Yeah, there's a fingerprint on the reference image. Mine is nowhere near as loose, but here's how mine turned out. Da, 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 da. So, you know, it's mostly like we both give you a little bit of here's what I'm doing and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But it's mostly about you kind of hanging out with us while we have a conversation about a lot of the things that we all talk about on a regular basis. And also seeing how two artists can sit side by side, use very, very similar materials and have paintings that resemble each other, not at all. And, you know, so that when you're tempted to say, well, it doesn't look like yours. Okay, that's perfect. It shouldn't. It should look like yours. So that's kind of the point of this whole image. And we did 9 by 12. It really doesn't matter. Anything. So Sue asked, do I see the outcome in my head? Do you mean of the scribbly bits that we're doing right now? This? Absolutely not. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. We will see. I'm making decisions with you as we go along, and we're just going to see what happens. There it is. It's still kind of wet. I think it's okay. Let's see. I think I'm going to start with the mountains in the back. The distant mountains. And I feel like they need to be I almost feel like they need to be a little bit more purpley. Let's just throw some burnt umber in there and see how that changes it. So I'm getting some more Prussian blue. And again, I'm just using Prussian because I've never used it before. Brand new color for me. You got branches all over the ground there, huh? All right, so I'm going to do these distant hills. I'm using this palette knife just because it's the one that was right here, not for any other reason. So I'm going to grab some blue, set it there, some burnt umber, just mix them kind of loosely, and some white, unbleached. And I'm just going to kind of start smearing it on. I'm using fairly solid pressure, just kind of scraping it. My palette knife is pretty much flat. So we've done a little bit of this kind of burnishing palette knife work before, like the, was that Starry Night one that we did not too long ago. And then that ocean one that we did. So, you know, rather than trying to be all nice with your palette knife and just use like the edge, solid pressure. It's just flat on there, completely flat. And I'm like swiping the entire length and width of the palette knife across my canvas. Look, don't worry about if you go down into the next section, don't be like this and try and prevent it from getting down in there. Just get the color on there however you need to. Anything else can be changed. Yeah, I like that color really well for the mountain. I haven't put in the sky yet, so I can adjust the shape of my mountain, so I'm not worried about that either. Yeah, I really like the burnishing effect with the palette knife. And it takes some pressure off. You know, if you're trying to be like this, you get that little swipe, and then you want to try and swipe it again and change it, and pretty soon it's all blended or it's all going in different directions. And just go like that in the first place. Should we throw the tree in? Let's start on the tree. So I'm going to go burnt umber and my Prussian blue. Yeah, that's pretty much just a nice chromatic black. Let's see what that looks like on its... Oh, that is a really gorgeous color, you guys. The Prussian blue with the burnt umber. Very neutral. It's a very, very dark, dark neutral color. So that's a good option for a chromatic black too. Let me zoom in here just a little bit. So I'm going to try and do a very similar thing on the tree. I'm just kind of carving it in, however, since I haven't done anything on the ground yet. That doesn't matter. Use the edge there to create a hard line between the tree and the mountain in the distance. Shout out anything you guys want me to do or change, or ideas or colors, anything. And don't be afraid of your knife, or, you know, I think a lot of times when we're not sure what a knife does, we're very delicate with it. I'm not being delicate with this knife at all. Putting some good heavy pressure on it, and you know, I think also we try to control, you know, we're like, oh, I don't want it to be very wide. I don't want my tree branch to be very wide. So, you know, we get in there and we try and do it really slow, and then we're frustrated because the paint's not coming off. And so we keep going over it, and then pretty soon we have this weird puffy spot. Man, just get some pressure on there and, you know, see, look, scrape it off. If, like right there, that was too wide. Scrape it off. I'm still going to put in my sky that's going to cover that, and, you know, come on. This paper has no weight to it, so I have to keep holding it down. Oh, I don't like that at all. Okay. It's a hand. It does kind of look like a hand doing like one of these things, doesn't it? Yeah, you can absolutely, just because you use a palette knife doesn't mean that that's all you have to use. Yeah, you can definitely mix them. Yeah, we can do the leaves. We can do some leaves as a pop of color. Yeah, I understand that, Deb. And I think that that's really up to you. To me, I feel like I want to add the foliage and the trees first, because otherwise I'm going to be pulling the color of the sky into it if I do the sky first. And I don't want to mix whatever color I end up doing on the sky in the foliage. But also, so there's a few reasons. The other reason is the shape of the foliage is going to dictate the movement of the sky. And since we want to indicate wind, I'm going to do the foliage first and then swoop the sky around it. I feel like that's how I'm going to be successful in making an image of wind. Another thing is, like I said, I don't want to pull the color of the sky into the foliage, but if I pull the color of the foliage into the sky, that's okay, right? Because that's going to help us indicate wind. The wind has grabbed bits of the tree off and is kind of flinging it through the sky. Welcome, Donna. So those are some reasons why I've decided that I'm going to do the foliage first. There it is. I'm going to get some yellow oxide. I have a bit of an idea. I know I said, yeah, that we could do the leaves blowing as the pop of color, but that's kind of not what I'm feeling right now. So let's see what happens. We'll just see where it takes us. If you want to paint the sky first, like if you're really like, nope, I'm painting the sky first, that's absolutely fine, clearly. I would suggest that you let it dry at least a bit before you do the tree, just to avoid pulling it in. Hello, Diane. But yeah, you can do it however you like. Okay. Still, I haven't cleaned off my palette knife. I'm going to start working on the foliage. So I've got my yellow oxide, my Prussian, my burnt umber, and my whatever that is, unbleached. So some Prussian, some unbleached, yellow oxide. Sorry, guys. My brain is on backwards today. I think it's been on backwards for a while. Oh, I still have some Payne's Gray here, man. I'm going to use that. This is going to be such a dulled down color. Just a little bit of unbleached. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to come in here and just kind of start swooping it. Still kind of that flat burnishing. I'm not trying to force the color to cover anything in particular. I think sometimes palette knife painting can be frustrating because we try to get the paint to go, you know, farther than it wants to go. And then we find ourselves like trying to scrape it to move farther, go farther. So I'm not going to fight with that. I'm just getting a fairly decent load of paint, kind of plop it down and swoop until it just stops coming off. It is kind of annoying, yeah. But then if I tape it down, there's either tape on the front and I don't want to deal with that, or there's tape on the back that's causing bulges underneath and I don't want to deal with that either. So it's fine. I think that's a good place to start. It is kind of bonsai-ish, isn't it? Oh no, Gretchen. I hope you don't lose your power. Well, thanks, Jennifer. I kind of think it looks like a 4-year-old did it at this point, but the ugly stage of painting, right? That's a thing. Oh, you're so sweet. I don't feel like it's anywhere near ready for stoppage. You know what? I think I'm going to start the sky with a brush. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to start it with a brush. So my Prussian, where's my panes? There it is. Oh yeah, the little outline from the tape. I usually just leave it in the pad, and then I don't have to worry about it, but I tore it out because I thought it would be easier. Thought that would be easier today. Not so much. Okay. So, I'm going to start kind of getting my directionality, my idea for the sky in, and then I'll come back and palette knife it a bit. So I'm going to use my 1/2" filbert. Why? I don't know. Because I saw it and I decided to do it. Yeah, that's true. Before it was not. Yeah, and we'll get some more branches in there. Absolutely. This is all just kind of the start. So I'm going to get, let's see, some Prussian. It's all very loose. All those other colors are in there still. Some panes. Some unbleached. That's a little brighter than I was expecting. I want it to be a little on the stormy side. There we go. A little bit of burnt umber did it. And I think I'm going to start around my tree. So I can take this opportunity to shape my tree. See how I cut right over that? Just cut into the tree. And now I've got some little swoopy bits. See that? Ooh, that's exciting. I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to change my color a little each time. Maybe let's get a swoopy bit going in there. Heck yes. Oh, maybe I won't use a palette knife on the sky. I don't know. We'll see how. We'll see how it looks after this. But I like those little swoopy bits so far. I think it needs a little more brown in there, here and there. Across the top of the mountain. I may get rid of that mountain because the color is so similar to these, and I don't want to lose my swoopy bits. What do you guys think of those? It is kind of buffering, isn't it? Even on my screen, it looks kind of yucky. Hopefully I don't lose you guys. Let's get some going on in here. I like the idea of not having a solid view of what's tree and what's sky, you know, especially out this direction. So let's keep messing with that idea and see where that goes. Just throw in a couple little ones here and there. Inside, little sky windows. I did not make that up. The little bits that you see inside of a tree in a painting, where they come back and they add the sky, they're called sky windows. Same with the trunk here. I want the trunk to almost seem like it's blowing away into the wind. And I am going to get rid of, that hill. Come off the edge of the tree and just use that to swoop. Hello, Rhonda. No mountain. I agree. Let's go a little darker as we move up. It's hard for me to keep my plate in view when I'm mixing, so I'm just using the exact same colors, the Prussian blue, a little burnt umber, maybe a little Payne's gray, and the unbleached titanium, and just mixing it a little different every time I go back. As I move up the sky, I'm going to get a little bit darker as a rule, but that doesn't mean that there's not going to be lighter bits in the sky. In fact, I just grabbed a little bit of white, the unbleached, sorry. I'm going to add some fairly pale swoopy bits up here for like a cloud, maybe like a little cloud bank going on up in here. And then I'll surround it with darker colors. Okay, there we go. And I know that we're almost losing the foliage of our tree, but we're going to bring it back. And the way we're going to really bring it back is by, you know, kind of the directionality of it. So the brush strokes will probably move a little bit different. And then the highlights on it will probably be different color than the highlights in the sky. Let's get a little more brown and blue in there. Nice and dark right up in here. Okay, let's take a break from that for a minute because I have to. I always have to take a break. The African Serengeti, yeah, kind of, huh? No phthalo green. You know, I think that the phthalo green with the Payne's gray could actually be a really nice highlight color in the tree. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Let's get away from it. Let's not look at it for a minute. Yeah, but Deb, right, if you did it once, you can do it again. So, no sense in being upset about it. So, what are you guys thinking? I don't know how I want to do the ground. Now I kind of wish I had a little more sky. I mean, I guess I could add more sky. It seriously looks like a little kid's finger painting right now. I may actually do some palette knife in the sky. I have an idea how I could make that work. I could make it work. You want some brightness in the painting? Well, it's not going to be all that dark. This is, flicky grass. I feel like flicky grass could get I feel like it could take away because the shape, excuse me, the shapes we have going on in here so far are very flowy, very, sorry guys, my throat is, I'm going to start choking. We have very fluey, very flowed motions going on in most of our shapes, including our tree branches. So if we do flicky grasses, they're going to be, kind of very, very sharp ends. And that could, I'm kind of thinking of, how you see grass that's a little longer when it's really windy and it almost looks like a little ocean with the little waves. So maybe something like that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Deb. A little too detailed. That might be detailed. You guys, you know how to speak my language so well. Bendy, flicky grass. Yeah, I think we should do a little bit of that with the grass. Kind of a similar thing to what we did in the sky. I don't know how I'm going to do that though. Just because I tend to get wrapped up in little details like that and then make it look like a 4-year-old did it. I don't want to make it look like a 4-year-old did it. Let's get a little cad yellow. So we can pop the green a bit if we want to. I just put out a tiny, tiny bit of it because I don't want to make the green grass shockingly green. That would be bad. And the bendy swirly grass. Whoops, that was the wrong one, wasn't it? Yeah, we'll do some bendy swirly grass. Grab some cad yellow, my Prussians, some burnt umber to darken it down. I keep it green, but I want it drab. There we go. And a little bit of extra water. I'm going to keep it all going with the sky. We'll start with some of these larger brush strokes just to get it on there and get everything started. And then we can detail with smaller brush strokes. See how I said don't worry about, your palette knife if it gets out of control and your palette knife strokes get too big and cover too much area. Cover it up later. All gone. Little extra yellow. Little unbleached, just to change it up. Oh, help me keep on track with time. I don't want to go over the time and, you know, end up missing jam session because I got lost in swirly flicky bits. Yeah, Pat, absolutely. And I will use a smaller brush, but like I said, I just wanted to get kind of the shape and the color laid in there. And then when I go to do highlights and lowlights in the grasses and in the tree, I will definitely use a smaller brush. Let's see, what else did I miss? Oh yeah, Deb, we can do that once we start detailing the grass. Yeah, I can make little clumps, little gnarly clumps. All right. I'm starting to really like the way this is coming together. Let me, because I know there's a little bit of a glare, so you can't really see the way the colors are coming together. So I know the tree, the foliage is totally lost in the sky, but I'm really happy with kind of the shape of things and the flowiness on the ground. So we just need to really kind of punch highlights, shadows, get a couple little defining details in there, but I'm really liking that, actually. Thanks for suggesting we paint some wind today, guys. No, the color of the canvas is absolutely still impacting it. It's totally changing it. I mean, you can see, I mean, aside from these bits that I haven't covered, there's some warmth. So the grass, a lot of that color is showing through here. And if we had used the blue one, let's say, the sky would be a little bit more monotone and the grass would feel colder. As it is, I think it feels like a little bit... Oh, I thought that would totally mute it. It didn't. I almost sneezed. I didn't want to sneeze in your ear. As it is, I feel like this grass feels a little bit like early spring grass. It's still drab, but it's got a hint of that brightness coming into it. And part of that is because of the orange glowing through. And like I said, if we had used gray or something brown, the grass would seem much more drab. Yes, the crystal is for next week. It would be an awesome video. We'll have to see. No such thing as too many trees. Absolutely. All right, let's work on the tree itself because it just kind of looks like an ugly little finger painted tree, doesn't it? I think, yeah, I think I'm going to use my number 8 filbert, but not my yucky one. I'm going to use my nice one on the details of the tree. So I want to avoid my tree being the same color as either the grass or the sky. Keep that in mind. You don't really want the foliage on your tree to be the same color. You don't really want everything to be the same color because then it's all going to compete for attention. Or if the grass and the tree are the same color, then the whole thing is going to seem like the sky. Does that make sense? So just find some way, even if you're using a limited color palette, find some way to swap it out. So really, I've got a very limited color palette here. I know it's hard to tell. I've got my unbleached Payne's Gray, Yellow Oxide, Prussian Blue, Cad Yellow, and Burnt Umber. And even if I end up using the exact same colors as I used in the grass, it's the way I change it up that's going to make it look like a different color. But I think I'm going to focus on maybe Yellow Oxide. Keep it a little more drab. Maybe a little on the bluer side so that it's kind of a transitional point between the color of the grass and the color of the sky. It's a little bit between both of those. All right, guys, let's hold off on, you know, agreeing to make this a video until we see how it turns out. It could turn out to be complete junk. So let's wait and see. All right, so some Prussian, some yellow oxide, nice dirty green, totally a different green than the grass there. Let's throw a little Payne's in there, gray it down a bit, some unbleached. That's a nice green, I like that. Some matte medium, maybe a little water. I started out wanting to do this with my palette knife, and I'm kind of not doing it with my palette knife now. I'm almost doing a cloud type technique here. You can't see that. So just kind of laying my brush on the canvas, see that? I'm not holding it, I'm just propping the handle up with my hand and just kind of nudging it in like a cloud type shape. Swiping out the bottom edge. Let me throw in a little bit of a different color there so you can kind of see. So just nudge that shape, swipe out the bottom. Nudge the shape, swipe out the bottom. Here's one. Nudge the shape. Does that make sense? So it's all still flowing in the same way as the little flowy bits I put in the sky. It's not, you know, overlapping them too much. It overlaps them, but it still flows with it. I've actually wanted to do something like this for a while, you guys, so I really appreciate you pushing me into that. Let's see. I really need to do something about the light over here. And you guys are probably frustrated with that. You can never see what I'm doing. Let's get some there. See, so I did overlap, but it all still moves with it. I think I'm going to need some darker bits in there too. But right now I'm just going to focus on this color, and then we'll go in and darken things up a bit if we need to. This is going to be quite a bit of a lighter color. Just sketch it on there. There's no sense in making it tidy, right? It's blowing in the wind. Oh, Tan's here. Hello, Tan. Oh, you guys are so sweet. You guys always say the nicest things. Right? See? Listen to Cindy. Yeah, no kidding, Michelle. But it is a video. It's a video for you guys. Okay, my paint's getting pretty thick, pretty crazy up in this joint. So let's take a break from the tree for a second. Just a couple more little flowy bits out there. I am pretty happy with how this tree is looking. Now it's starting to come into its own. All right, let's work on the sky. Let me zoom you out a bit. Oops, out, I said. Yes, Cindy, absolutely. This will be available the very second we're done. The very, very second we're done. If you guys wanted to, you know, it's up to you. If you do this painting, when you post it, just make sure that you say this was a a painting that we did only for Patreon folks. So that when people are like, where's the tutorial for that? You can be like, you have to be a $15 patron. Heck yeah, Jennifer, that's an excellent song. Ooh, Sue. Sue, I really like that idea. I do. I like that idea. If I forget, will you remind me? Lengthen the tree trunk and bring it down? Yeah, I think so. I think so. How do you watch it if you miss? The same way you got here in the first place. You just click the link. It just won't be live. Yeah. So you would go to the post, click the link. There you go. Yeah. I like that idea. I think I've kind of abandoned the palette knife at this point because I'm really enjoying what's going on here with the brush. But I do think that that's a good idea to bring the tree trunk down. I'm just mixing up a dark color. All kinds of colors. No specific color. Let's... I don't like that. I want to bring the tree from this kind of a direction. Just kind of feeling that out, seeing what happens. So remember how I started out by scribbling? I'm still scribbling, guys. I'm still scribbling. Scribble all of the things. All right, let's brighten up the back a little bit and maybe try and do some of those, some fields like, was it Sue? Like Sue suggested? I did like that idea. So I mixed up green with my brighter yellow, my Prussian blue, my burnt umber, and then some unbleached to really lighten it. I want it quite a bit lighter because we're going to push it into the background. So really I'm going to take these same just kind of some smaller brush strokes. Maybe I'll blur the line a little. That gives it a little bit of distance. If we blur it into the sky, we can kind of start carving out the edge of the tree there. A little matte medium and blur that into the sky a bit. Yeah, you can go back through Patreon and any posts that you can see, if there's a link in there to like a private event or whatever, it's still there. Go watch it. Let's get a little bit more. I want to really get rid of that line. Really suggest that that's distant because you can't really tell where the excuse me, where the ground meets the sky. Okay, I'm liking that. Oh, poor Olaf. You have to go potty. And Daddy's ignoring you and Mama's working. Hang on one sec, guys. Okay, sorry. That is really thick right here, so I may have to come back to that. Really, I'm just picking up unbleached at this point. My brush is super gunked up with all those colors. I'm just picking up some unbleached and maybe some matte medium. And just wipe some of that off. Maybe a little more yellow, a little more blue. A little bit of a brighter color. And I'm going to take my brush strokes in a different direction over top of that. And that might help push it to the back. I don't know. I might work on that a little bit and see if I can. That might have been something that I should have planned out in the first place. We'll see. You guys are talking about that guy last name. Oh yeah, that guy was funny. It was like everything anyone would say, he came up with a question for it. It was funny. Somebody said something about, oh, I sold a painting. How do I sell my painting? How do I sell my painting? How do I sell my painting? Over and over and over again. Oh, there we go. Scribble that. I don't know how I want the bottom of that tree to look, but that's how it looks now. So there's some of those little grassy, floopy bits. I don't know what floopy means, but it seemed to fit. It's a floopy bit. See? When in doubt, cover it. I don't know what the base of this tree should look like. Cover it up. Let's get some, I like the idea of the bushes in the distance. So I didn't clean off my brush. I just picked up some Payne's Gray. Excuse me. And just going to kind of nudge. They can overlap the horizon a bit. There we go. Let's do that. Yeah. Heck yeah. Maybe that's what we'll do here, because I wasn't sure what was going on with this hillside. When in doubt, cover it. That's going to be our new thing. Except they need to be kind of going this way, don't they? Kind of swooping off to the other side. There we go. What do we do, guys? When in doubt, cover it. Let's get just a few back there, kind of pointing them off to the left. Point that off to the left. Point that off to the left. Oh yeah, let's get just a little bit of yellow, of my cad yellow, and a little bit of white. And we'll just add like a little pop. Just, you can't even see that on the camera. Let's see. I just kind of nudged a light color into like one little speck. See that? So like right there and right there. Excuse me. Guys, my throat is still making me crazy. And if you feel like there's not enough contrast, and we get the contrast by having the light and the dark, then all you have to do is come back with some dark. This is really just Payne's Gray, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of nudge a bit at the base. And that will be a nice contrast to the yellow there. Oh, stop, Shannon, I'm not. Oh, you guys, be nice. What if he does show up? What if he's here right now? It is kind of getting real there, isn't it? I'm really happy with the way that's looking. See what I did there? I'm really happy with the way that's looking. I want to... The things that are kind of grabbing my attention right now is, I mean, everything needs work on here. There's not a single element that I feel like is done. But the things that are really grabbing my attention right now and saying, I need some work, are the sky and the foliage. So I think that's where I want to go next. That sky is pretty dry. There's a little bit in there that's still wet a bit. That's a good point, Cindy. I would know. Yeah. Can we retract comments after the show? I don't know. If there's a comment that you made and you know where it is and you really don't want it in there, you can let me know and I can go in and delete it for you, but I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah. Let's work on our sky a little. How about that? I think I'm going to put some titanium white in there. I bet he's not here on Tuesday. He's never been here before, and I bet he's not here on Tuesday. I think he just happened on in and tried to join the conversation in the wrong way, but did try. Yeah, I feel like he was lonely and maybe trying really hard to interact but not sure how, and just happened to be in our chat. And so what am I looking for? Payne's Gray right here. Burnt umber, titanium white. Maybe I'll use, I don't need any unbleached. Let's get some titanium white going. And burnt umber. There was a guy asking me to update my profile picture. I don't remember seeing that. That is creepy. What was he saying? I did think it was a little creepy when he was like, you should paint your house. Paint a picture of your house. I was like, ew, why? So you can like Google Earth it somehow and find me. Oh yeah, Jennifer, that was Patrick. Yeah. Yep, that was Patrick. Okay, I'm going to still use my number 8. And let's work on the sky. I'm really excited about punching this sky. So the things that I want to focus on in this sky are, dang it, I shouldn't have added those bushes yet. That's all right, I'll have to paint around them. I want to keep the horizon area fairly light. And I do want a bit of a cloud bank kind of up in this area. And I love this kind of undulation that we have going on there. Guys, don't be mean. All right, so muddy color, some brown, some blue, some Payne's. Wipe it all off. Load up with white. Mostly white, just this really gray, muddy white. Some matte medium. Let's get some water. Just a really messy sludge of paint. And I don't necessarily want to lose all of that I already did. Yeah. See how I paid attention to where everything else was, and I stopped it right there where it met that. I didn't want to lose it, you know, and have it cross over top of that and completely obliterate it and just make it look like a cross-hatching nightmare. And that one just kind of runs up along the underside of it. Ooh, you know what this actually reminds me of, you guys? It reminds me of one of my absolute favorite artists ever, whose name I can never remember. One of my favorite artists. Have no idea what his name is. Deb. He's the one I told you to Google on Tuesday. There's a V in his last name. Yes. Guys, this is so exactly what I needed today. Just small dashes. I really just picked up white there, but the canvas is still wet and my brush is still dirty, so. Nice light color in there. A little matte medium. Get it down in there. Eileen. It was 3 names and there was a V in his last name. Oh, hang on. I might have it right here. I do. It is Maurice de Valminick. I'll copy and paste that into Maurice de Valminick. Oh, you guys. I cannot get enough of this man's painting. There. Yes. We got it at the same time. Maurice de Valminick. I am so in love with this man's paintings. Nice and bright here at the base of the horizon. I love how the sky almost seems to be bursting out of the tree. I like that. Just some matte medium there. All right, let's punch our cloud up in here. Remembering that we've got some of the foliage in there now. So let's go around it. Yeah. There's a little piece of foliage in there. Not even worried about any of that orange. If you don't have this paper, well, it's not paper, it is the canvas sheet. And you want to just really have a similar underpainting, if you're going to try this painting, I would say just underpaint it with like a mix of cad orange and white. Just a little bit of cad orange and white. Just get our little sky windows in there. Some little cloudy bits. Maybe up here, not quite that bright. I am absolutely getting my bits in for the week. Bits, bits, bits. All of the bits. Matte medium. I'm really in love with this sky. Let's hope I don't screw it up. There's always time for that, isn't there? Okay. Sparkly bits. No, I think it had pokey bits. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there were pokey bits. Okay, let's get some dark in this sky, right? Because if we want something to seem really bright, like I want that, the white to seem nice and bright, we need to go nice and dark. And nice and dark is also going to help give us that storm color. So my blue and my Payne's Gray. I didn't wash my brush. I just wiped it right there. So it's still got some white in it. It's not going to be, you know, solidly dark. I feel like I do want to, I'm going to keep a little bit of white in there. There we go. Drab it down with a little bit of brown. Matte medium. Maybe a little water. Ooh, gooey, muddy, clunky, thunky, chunky brush. I didn't know what word I wanted to say, so I ran through all of them there. Olaf, please don't get Mr. Moon up and going crazy. We just got him quiet. Thanks. Some dark under there. Making sure to remember how that tree is moving. Blend it with the tree there. Sorry guys, you lost me for a second. I'll be back in a minute. Little white. Okay, barky bits. Meowy bits. It's a painting from the man? What does that mean? Yeah, so I am not done with the tree or the ground at all. Absolutely. Bitsy bits. I was in the zone. I absolutely was. Yeah, the tree is absolutely not done. The ground is absolutely not done. I was super excited about, I'm going to go super dark up in these corners actually. I was really excited about the sky, so there we go. Yeah, let's get a little dark swipe in there. Let's get some of those little dark bits in our sky windows. I really would love for you guys to try this. I mean, I would love for you guys to try any of these that we do. That's what I do these for. These guys are paintings just for you. You know, you're free to do them. You're free to share them on social media. Not the video, obviously. But share your painting and your experience. And yeah, this isn't just for me to go, all right, guys, sit back and watch how incredible I am. Obviously. But yeah, I would really like for you guys to do these and, you know, take some of the lessons that we talk about and see what you come up with. I am in love with that sky. Okay, I gotta stop on the sky. Otherwise, I'll take the sky too far and then I'll be unhappy. So I just have to stop for a minute. You guys got a weird error on the video? I didn't get anything. Yeah, no, there's no depth to that tree just yet. It's looking a little flat and silly right now. So what was the error that you guys got? I didn't get anything on mine. Oh, you're so sweet. You guys are too sweet. Let's see what we have over here. It says my stream is good, but it looks like junk on my computer. Let me turn my quality down. Maybe that'll make my computer run faster. The video went black with an error message, but you didn't see what the error message said? Okay. All right, let's play with the tree. Let's get some dark going on up in here on that tree. So some yellow, oh, and this yellow. Let's focus mostly on yellow oxide. My blue, nice messy brush. Right now I'm going for my dark value. I need to get some of those shadows in the tree. It's mostly blue, some Payne's gray. Let's throw a little burnt umber in there. Little water. A little more Payne's gray. Nice and dark. Okay, let's do a lot of Payne's gray. Very dark. Unspecified error. Wow. Okay. We don't know, but something isn't right. All right. So I'm just going to kind of come in here and start dashing. See, nothing real specific. My brush isn't bending. Remember the cursive thing? So I want you to kind of pretend I'm using the edge of my brush again. I'm not using it flat. I'm using the edge, so kind of like the corner. But remember the idea of writing in cursive. So I want you to kind of, almost like you're writing in cursive, but you're writing with one of those stupid mechanical pencils that if you push too hard, the lead pops off and breaks and shoots across the room. So you're writing very beautiful cursive with a really delicate, stupid pencil. That's what we're doing here. That's the pressure we're using. I'm going to let that dark color blend in with that dark color. We don't have to have any definition between our tree and the wind, aside from, you know, we'll make the highlights and everything an obviously different shape. And my tree is still actually quite wet, so that's blending in, and that's okay. Let's get a little bit more of our yellows and blues. Still make sure it's different from that grass color. We don't want the same color. just kind of touching. I'm doing the same thing, but I'm like just until it touches. This paint is super thick. I threw a little bit of white in there too. That might have been too much. I feel like I'm losing this tree. Maybe I should take a break from it. I don't know. What are we thinking? I think I'm kind of losing the tree a little bit. Let's go to here. I guess it's not terrible. I guess we can keep going. I do kind of like that I just kind of have this brighter spot right there. So I don't think I'm going to get super bright like that everywhere. I don't know. That's how I feel right now. And you know how I am. I change my mind at the drop of a hat. That's just what I'm thinking right now. Pull a little bit of that out into the sky. This really reminds me of spring here. We get pretty substantial winds, typically every April. A couple of years ago, it was in June, and we had trees down all over town, all over, and it was really scary, and our power was out for, it was almost exactly 24 hours that our power was out. We don't usually get tornadoes. We have had a couple. We had a tornado a couple years ago. Just like here in town. And there was actually a pretty substantial tornado in downtown Salt Lake City in 90, God, I can't remember what it was. I don't know, 90 something, 97, 98. It was pretty bad. And everybody in Utah was like, what? Tornado? We don't get those. Well, we did. I'm just throwing a little bit of white and a little bit more yellow in with that mixture on my brush. Just kind of scratching in a little hint of it. Swipe it with my finger. guys, I'm loving this painting. Okay, I gotta take a break from it for a second. Yeah, I'm not gonna look at it. I'm not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna... I have to stop for a minute. Bye, Kathy. Okay. Oh, yeah. I forgot that Atra's a leap baby. But that was last year, Atra, right? Didn't you have a birthday last year? You don't get a birthday this year, do you? I always thought that would be so cool. And I would totally own that. I'd be like, yeah, I'm only... What? How old am I? I'm only 10. I'm only 10 years old. Oh, presidential years or leap years? I didn't realize that. Okay. Taking a break from my painting. Really, all we have left to do is the ground and fix up that tree trunk a bit. I'm liking it. What about you guys? I'm enjoying it. I'm pretty happy with it. Antra's going to be 9 next year. Oh, yeah. Sylvie, thanks for reminding me. I have 1 hour left to finish this, and then we have gems. So, yeah. Thank you, Eileen. Were you really, Gretchen? Oh my gosh. As soon as I read that, I started hearing from The Wizard of Oz. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I'm really happy with it. But I want to finish it today because you know how I am when I'm like, I'm going to work on this later and show you. Well, when? Yeah. Oh no, bye, Sue. I'm glad you got to hang out for a while. Yeah. We'll just give that a second to think about what it's done. I want to try and eat something real quick before we do gems too. All right, let's get back to... We've been going for 2 hours already, guys. How have we spent 2 hours on this dinky little painting? All right. Let's work on the ground. I will work on the trunk after, because the ground, I need to kind of carve into the trunk a little bit. And so I don't want to work on the trunk right now. And Lucky, order me some pizza too. No, we had fish fry last night. So now my house smells like fried fish, which is kind of gross. Let's turn that up a little bit. But it was really yummy, so I guess it's okay. Okay. Let's carve into the ground a little bit. My green, so my cad, my Prussian, little brown, unbleached, because I'm going for that same type of color we have back here. It's okay if it's not exact. A little water. And let's carve into that tree just a bit. Maybe a little on this side too. There, that's looking better. All right, more yellow, more blue, less brown, less unbleached, no unbleached. Good water. Let's carve into that too. Really pull that tree in a bit there. Like that little bit of blue there. Just a rough mess of colors. Something kind of blowing around right there. Some little swoopy bits. Right here where it's closer to us, I'm going to focus less on swoopy bits and just kind of scribbly bits because it's closer to us. So we might see a little bit more of the chaos being caused by the wind rather than just seeing the, you know, as a, in generalities, the grasses all kind of move off to the side in the distance. But up close, we can see crazy things. I like that. All right, that's enough over there. I do like this kind of darker bit right here that's kind of indicating like maybe a little bit of a path or something. And it's a depression. It kind of pulls the ground down there and says that it's kind of flat. Yeah, that can be challenging, Deb. So, you know, in the background, just remember as a rule, you have less detail. So we have less detail. So we have our colors, we have our shapes. You know, we're going to say that the ground is moving one way or the other just by the direction and the size of the brush strokes that we use. Smaller brush strokes are going to help give us distance, you know, so pop a little bit of some brighter color in here. Let's see, my brush is getting dry. I ran out of matte medium on my plate and I'm too lazy to get some more. So some shorter brush strokes in there. And as we get closer, see, I can do larger brush strokes. And then where we want to say this is right here in our face, we can see more detail. So I know that's not a lot of detail, but it's, you know, it's more detail than just like a let's work on that. Grass is so wet right now. It's 1 hour from now. 1 hour from now. And then, so like I said, size. So if we look at, you know, the size of these here as compared to this, where this looks like an entire bush is made right there, this, an entire bush is made right there. So that size difference is what helps push that into the back too. That, and it overlaps the horizon, so that kind of says it's way back there. Let's work on the tree for a second. I think I'm going to stick with my number 8. And I'm going to go burnt umber, some of my blue. Because I'm really in love with the color that burnt umber and Prussian blue makes, so we'll probably be seeing that more often. Oh, Payne's gray. Some unbleached. See if we can scoot that over here. I'm using a very similar brush stroke on the tree that you absolutely cannot see to what I used in the sky and the ground, right? So they're little arcs. It's like a little choo choo. Let me get... I'm going to take that out, but I want you to be able to see the type of brush stroke that I'm doing there. Some matte medium. I'm just going to smooth it out. Let's get some more of that dark color. That's not terrible. So see how the shape of the brush strokes in the tree matches the shape of the brush strokes in the sky, and we almost get like it goes from the tree and it bursts out, and but it also starts to follow not only the shape of the tree but the shape of the sky, and then everything's kind of connected, and those shapes kind of flow from the ground, so it's like everything is kind of flowing together, and that's really exciting. That's not something, guys, that I've ever been successful at before. Is doing that kind of a flow. That's something that I love. It's one of the things I love about Maurice de Valminick and Van Gogh's paintings, but it's not something I've ever been able to accomplish. This is just some of my darker color again. I just want to kind of kick back a little bit of that bright color. Not all of it. So one of the important things about getting those type of brush strokes is that you make them look woven. Okay, so you don't want to be, let's see, I need a piece of paper or something. Or a junk canvas. You'd think with all this crud sitting around me. I just have a piece of paper here. Let's do this on this piece of paper. I almost feel like I'm done, but we'll look at it in just a minute. So, what you don't want to do is just go, you know, choo, 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 up, down, you know, everything's crossing over each other like that. That's not how we're going to make that an effective woven look. But I also don't want you to go, here's one, and here's one. I want you to, you know, so we're kind of like that. And then the next one comes off of it. And the next one comes off of it, but it kind of goes in a little bit of a different direction. And then, so it's almost like you're weaving them. See how the previous one ended where the next one begins, but the next one still kind of goes in a little bit of a different direction. So do you see the difference here? Weave them together. Don't just like slash them all over each other and let them overlap each other. I think you can get Prussian blue in a store. I don't really know if it's a color that I'm going to end up using a lot of. So far, I really like it. I love the way it mixes with burnt umber. And burnt umber mixed with blue is really one of my favorite things to do. So I may, because I'm loving that burnt umber mixture. What are we thinking? Here's what I think. I think we need some brightness right here. Maybe some flowers, some little flowers. And then we can kind of take those little flowers and kind of stipple them here along the base of the tree. What do you guys think about that? And what kind of a color do you think would go good there? Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with chat. Thanks, guys. You like the idea of poppies? I like the idea of poppies too. Yeah, the flowers could totally be the pop of color. How about we do... Yeah, I like poppies. Yeah, let's do some poppies. Heck yes! Where did my paint go? Oh, it's right here. Ugh. And I think I'm going to go back to the palette knife. So, for my poppies, I'm going to use... I'm going to use Cad Orange and Cad Red Medium. If I can find my Cad Red Medium. There's Cad Red Light, not quite what I want. I didn't get it out. Oh my gosh. You'd think that I could have this tiny little bucket organized. There it is. Okay. And then I had planned on putting some extra branches in the trees, but I don't feel like it's necessary. I feel like if I did them so that you could see them, they would just take away from everything else. And I'm not going to go overboard with the flowers. We just need some tiny little bits. I think, well, I'm going to use the knife for the closer ones, but maybe I will use a baby filbert for the farther ones. I don't want to try and use a knife for the little ones in the back. So what is this? My number 2. I didn't even wet it down. I'm almost going to use it like a knife. So I have like a little blop that the camera won't focus on. And I'm just going to kind of roll it on almost like... Oh my gosh, that red is perfect in there, isn't it? That red is on fire. So for the most part, this is a really simple brush stroke. All I'm doing is just kind of going, there's a petal and there's a petal. Maybe one like that. Just some little dashes. Don't try to put too much into it. And in the back here, maybe we'll just kind of touch. Stipple a few little bright points in there. And those, since they're in the distance, they're all kind of connected together. I know you can't see that because of the glare. See? How they're just like scratched together. Don't try to make individual little points because then they're going to look kind of phony. They'll just be little polka dots in the distance. But I'm barely touching. I'm just touching the paint to the canvas. I'm not touching my brush to the canvas at all. Let's just get a couple more right in here. And a little orange. That orange might be a bit much. I'm not going to put it on too many places. I think that's good. Now to make these flowers look like they're blowing, because right now they don't look like they're blowing. They look kind of stationary. And in a blowing landscape, that looks out of place. We're going to do something else to them in just a minute. But let's get the other ones on first. Where's Vince? I don't know. He's doing something in the kitchen. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you. I'll see what soon. What will I see soon? Oh. What? I'm sorry, I was in my own little world. Oh my gosh, forever, huh? Okay, I'm here. I'm looking. Okay, I'm not painting. Tell me. I think, yeah, YouTube is sucking right now. Sorry, guys. I hope the playback isn't like this. I can't fix that. I don't have any way to fix that. That's YouTube. Wait, it says... Why does it say... Why is it... Ay. This is not the most important thing to be doing right at this moment. I don't know why it's doing that. I have no idea. I have no clue. It defaulted to Pacific time and I don't know why. Anyway, okay. Let's finish this up. Okay, so palette knife. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm only going to do a couple in the foreground here. I'm not going to do a whole lot. Okay, so just like a little blob. Same thing though, the little brush stroke that I showed you here, I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm just going to go. That's it. Let me zoom in there. Hopefully you can see it. When I look at YouTube, it looks all pixelated, and I think you guys probably can't see anything, and that makes me unhappy. So we're going to go blop, blop, blop. Hi. What are you doing? Let's get a little orange in there. I don't love these close ones. Do you guys? I don't love them. Let's do something here. Well, they just kind of look like blobs right now. So I'm going to take a little bit of Payne's Gray. There we go. Maybe that'll make me like them better. Maybe not. You didn't see that? I put a couple in the other one too. I don't actually love that. There. Why are these flowers giving me grief, you guys? I don't love them. All right. Let's do the last bit that'll help the flowers look like they're blowing in the wind. And then I think we're going to be done. I am going to stick with my palette knife, but I need more yellow. And blue. And I think this is the last part, you guys, and I really like how this painting turned out. You guys, you led me down such a great path today. Thank you. And I hope that the playback is viewable. If the playback isn't viewable, then I might end up having to make a tutorial of it so that you can actually see it. But if I do, I'll wait a little while and I'll make it a little different so that this one is still special just for you. So I'm using my knife, getting that color. I dunked my knife in water and then just kind of mix that water in there too. So it's all along there. I'm just really going to use the edge and kind of the tip, and I'm just going to scratch.
Oh, I like that.
Do you like it? Thanks. And we can wipe out anything we don't like. I guess you got to be careful not to mix too much in the red. Let's do a brush instead. I think it's just, I think I'm getting impatient. My number 8. So I think I'm getting impatient and scribble, scribble. Try not to grab the red of the flowers and drag it in. So just little hints of colors moving upward to that side kind of helps say maybe there's some, maybe these are blowing in the wind too.
That's a good title.
Yeah, blown in the wind. So I guess we do end up having some little flicky bit grasses. All right, guys. What do you think? I'm so glad that you guys are liking it. Good, good, good. That makes me happy. So, the scribbling. Are we going to work on scribbling? Are we going to not be afraid of scribbling? Because scribbling is so helpful, guys. I scribbled on this from the beginning to the end. There's scribbly bits. And yeah, I could have done those closer flowers a little bit better. I apologize. I got impatient. Sign it. Oh yeah, I guess I need to sign it, don't I? Maybe I'll sign it with red. Pretend like it's a flower that is in this area that looks decent. Some guy left me a comment today, jumping down my throat, talking about how I was perpetuating this whole me generation for telling people that they needed to sign their work. Deleted his comment. Anyway, so yeah, that's right, you guys. Kick scribbling's butt. Do it. Don't be afraid of scribbling. Scribbling shouldn't stress you out. Scribbling should be so exciting. You should always look forward to scribbling. So, all right, I will get a photo of this and post it for you guys. And hopefully the playback is viewable for you. I want to see your versions. So let's come up with a Patreon hashtag. So if you do any of the little paintings that we do in these, hashtag them. So how about something like, I don't know. Oh, like Patreonster. How about that? Like Monster, but with Patreon. Patreonster. How about we do that? Just hashtag it like that when you post, and I'll be able to find it. I need to stop messing with it, man. Thank you, guys. You guys are so sweet. I am, yeah, Patreonster. I'm going to go eat something real quick, and then I will see you guys in about 30 minutes for Jan session. Yay! All right. I will see you guys in a little bit. So have a good 30 minutes without me.